If you, let's say that you've come to the garden and you would like to become involved, perhaps you gardened up north and you would like to continue gardening down here, but you've heard from neighbors, other residents that gardening down here, can't do it. Well, yes, you can. We have amazing results down here with gardening. We have 3 growing seasons, which you don't have up north. So the big thing down here is the soil. So when you come to the garden and you ask to consult, part of what we'll help you with is to learn about, well, what don't we have here that you had up north? Well, dirt is one of those things, all right? So how are you going to grow something in that sand? Well, you're not going to grow much in that sand. So we begin to talk about, well, how am I going to enrich that soil?
We have seminars. Usually we hold them in the air-conditioned meeting room at Warm Mineral Springs. Dr. Clusen from the Extension Service will come down once a month or more frequently if we need him. We've done demonstrations on composting, on vegetable gardening, on herbs, insects in the garden, and we're really, really fortunate. The insects here, perhaps because we are all organic, are minimal, or perhaps it's the elements in the spring's water flowing beneath our soil.
One of the things that we did here at the garden was to try to determine what's the best type of mulch. If you're going to be adding mulch to your garden, what should you be adding?
And we planted the exact same strain of tomatoes purchased from the same store and planted the same day. The difference being, so we could compare all 3, was the amendment.
So we set up 3 different beds. We had one that was taken, we enriched with just the county compost. We had one that we enriched with horse manure. One of our master gardeners' granddaughter, I believe, had a horse that made donations on a regular basis. And we have a gentleman that with Greenleaf Worm Farm allowed us to make use of worm castings. And so we did our little science experiment. We grew the same brand of tomatoes in the same amount of sunlight, the same amount of water, absolutely everything exactly the same. The only thing different was the type of compost.
And they produced absolutely wonderfully. And Dr. Clusen would come down. He did the bricks testing. I don't know if you're familiar with that process, but it tests for sugars. It tests for salts in the fruit or vegetables that you're trying to produce. And he has a table. A tomato should be within this range. So we were watching the guides, we were amending the plants, and it was a very, very, very interesting study.
But we found that not only were we noticing a difference in the productivity of the plants, but also their ability to repel insects. Because these 3 plots were right next to each other, one just stood out as being, the bugs didn't like it. They just stayed away from it. It was just a much healthier, more lush particular plant. So yeah, we can do that sort of thing.
We're a 501c3. We depend on the graciousness of our volunteers. The only cost is $20 per season, and we only build 2 seasons for charges. This is unique in all the world, being right here out in the middle of this beautiful setting, having water that's not metered, having a community like Northport and Warm Mineral Springs supporting us wholeheartedly. I mean, that's growth, that's tremendous.